Peace, peace. We get started in a moment. Like normal, we're going through 3, Blog Talk Radio, Google Hangout, and YouTube. Trust bitches with the gods I relate. Mental alchemist, watch love conquer hate. Above my head's a figure 8. A Melchizedek moving through 50 states. Hermitologist with the gods I relate. Mental alchemist, watch love conquer hate. I emanate golden rays above my head's a figure 8. Throne of the ancient one, the Moorish Naga, the dragon raider, breathing fire, generator, operator, destroyer, self-lord, and master. A Kama Sutra, instructor the Tantra, a Kriya Yoga, the Kundalini, the Resurrector, Shushuna, the Ida, Pingala, Wigan the 7 Chakra, the Come the Avatar, Muhammad the Conqueror, putting swords to your jugular, send you to the ethers, the air, firebender, the earth ruler, usher in a new era. Either Salga, eyes filled with terror, eerie sounds of horror, reflection cracked mirrors, mind made feebles, dreams crumble, the curse tremble. Thieves in the temple, raise your mental before the young. You want it, motherfuckers. Can say that part. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna get into some deep information: 7 African powers, chakras, and color healing therapy. All right, so just bear with us as we let others come on to the screen, to this screening. All right, so we'll let a little bit more people come on into the room here. Yo, tell everybody, yo, I know it's late. We still had to get it in. You know what I mean? Yep, I know it's late. Still got to get it. I know some people are still up. Tell your friends, tell your family members, come on in. Come on in. All right. All right, we're going to get ready going into it. Can't wait any longer. We got to get them. Got to get it popping. Y'all know what's up. Y'all know how we do. If you don't, you're learning to have a clue. All right, so let's check this out. Hopefully y'all seeing all of this. All right, so the average body's organ frequencies, we know that each organ has a particular frequency. Endocrine gland has a particular frequency. The thyroid, parathyroid glands oscillates between 62 to 68 megahertz. The thymus gland, 65 to 68 megahertz. The heart, 67 to 70 megahertz. The lungs, 58 to 65 megahertz. The liver, 50 to 55 to 60 megahertz. The stomach, 58 to 65 megahertz. Pancreas, 60 to 80 megahertz. descending colon 58 to 63 megahertz, ascending colon 50 to 60 megahertz. So we know that various different parts of the body oscillates at different frequencies. Now, if you get the book, The Human Aura, Astral Colors, and Thought Forms by Swami Panchadashi, he states that the mind cannot operate without the help of prana. Therefore, prana is also the sum total of all latent forces and power hidden in man, which lies everywhere around us. All forces, all powers, and prana springs from the fountain of common source, Atman, or Atma, Atum, Adam, Kadman, is all derived from dark energy and turned from black matter. Professor Elias Gary states the long, dark, soundless space is between 40,000 to 400 billion vibrations per second, and where light appears to cease is in the infinity of ranges between 700 billion vibrations, right, per second. Right, and I'm looking here, make sure that that is 700 billion. So let's look, because these zeros is astronomical. All right, so so see, we talking about billion, 400 billion. No, we talking about 400 trillion, 700 trillion. So there it is. So it ranges. So the long, dark, soundless space is between 40,000 to 40 and 400 trillion vibrations per second. And where light appears to cease is in the infinity of range between 700 trillion vibrations per second. In the universe of motion, therefore, vibration was to be found underlying all manifestations of energy in all forms of matter. All right, so vibration goes even deeper, as we just seen with the frequencies of the particular organs. All right, frequency, vibration, it all correlates. That is all part of rhythm and vibration, in which that we see as part of the 2 of the 7 parts of the universal laws of Tahuti. All right, the universal laws of Tahuti. And I had to go back and check out these zeros here to make sure that we giving you the accurate information. But that's 400 and 700 trillion. All right, so now that we understand the vibration of the body, let's look at the auric field, because the auric field is emitted from the body, in particular from the endocrine glands, which is your pineal gland, your pancreas, spleen, your adrenal glands, the prostate, uterus, as well as the testes and ovaries. All right. But this emission causes the various colors in the auric field. Right. So here we have the various colors here. Well, patterns anyway. In a healthy auric field, you have 3 auric fields. You have your outer auric field, your health auric field, and your inner auric field, which is actually called your ethereal body, which is about 2 to 6 inches above your physical body. But your outer auric field for the average person stretches out to about 3 feet. All right, about 3 feet. That's within the average person. And normally the health aura is about 1.5 feet inwards from the 3 feet, and about 1.5 feet away from the body is the health. And then, of course, like I said, the inner auric field is about 2 to 6 inches above the physical body, around the physical body. And that is actually your double ganger which after you leave the physical body, that particular body looks identical to your physical body, right? That is the one in which that you are immediately attached to, which is your ethereal body or etheric cord or civil cord, as they call it, right? But that's a healthy body, as you see here, and you see the three levels of the one here in the middle, and it's oval shaped like an egg, all right? An unhealthy auric field has tangled strands, right? Healthy rays of a body from the aura shines off, as you see in the first illustration to the left, but the one to the right is the one in which that shows entangled um, beams of light or entangled lights or entangled um, streams of rays, however you want to refer to it as, but they are entangled. And so pranic energy will help to untangle it through the method of scanning and sweeping. Sweeping in particular will help remove the entanglement of the rays emitted from the aura. Now, in order to give you what is called the Roy G. Biv, or the seven colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. The colors of the rainbow is because we're talking about visible light spectrum. The visible light ranges around 10 -6, all right? And it's in between ultraviolet rays and infrared rays. All right, this is where visible spectrum hangs out at. And that is actually what we call the third dimension. All right, so in the third dimension, melanin acts as a semiconductor. But it's a semiconductor. That means you have to add extra energy to those seven endocrine glands slash seven wheels of light, thought, color, and sound. You have to add more energy. And you can get that energy from ultraviolet light, which correlates to the fourth dimension, which would be symbolic to time and space, which is depth. DEPTH. Now you have to get the biblical correlations, because it just wouldn't be right without showing you that. Go to Revelation, the 5th chapter. It says, "And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within." The book was written within, right? That's you talking about your DNA. And then it said it was on the back side, sealed with seven seals. That is your Kundalini, all right? Going up through the seven chakras. Revelations 1:11 tells you, saying, "I am the Alpha and Omega, the first and the last." Right? It's talking about from the first chakra to the last chakra, which is the last seal of the prophets, which is the crown chakra, which they say is Muhammad. All right, all of that correlates. And what thou see writ right in the book, in a book. The book is once again your DNA. And send it unto the seven churches, chakras, which are in Asia. It says unto Ephesus, and unto Smyrna, and unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira, and unto Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. Right? These are the seven churches, or the seven chakras. This is what this is really saying. So it says that it was written in the book. All right. The book that is written in about your DNA. Your DNA, as you see, travels in the same elliptical pattern as the Kundalini energy. This is why, for the comparison, right? The origin of the rainbow chakras and the Kundalini serpent derived from the Yoruba Orisha system of ancient West Africa. Right? Defied is the deity or divinity of Asmera. Right? It was later taken to Kemet, ancient Egypt, and became the Uraeus. All right, and then transferred to the adamant, mansiness, manancy. All right, so the Adamasi, who actually are the original Indians, who actually the Tamil and pre-Dravidians are derived from, of ancient India, who established yoga, which influenced Buddhism. So a Sumer, right, which is the Yoruba Orisha of the chakras and the Kundalini, all right, which correlates to the rainbow chakra or the serpent rainbow, right, which is nothing more than talking about your chakra system. Okay, that's all it's talking about. Now, Krita Mutua, South African shaman, he speaks of the Kundalini being called Umbelini. The Umbelini. So the word Umbelini is where they get the word Kundalini from in the Orient or in India. And as you see here, you see Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, the Buddha, Hermes, which is Mercury, Mithra, Moses, staff of Osiris or Osar, Mayan vision serpent, which is of Quetzalcoatl, all right, Gutumaz, Vayakasha, all right, Kukulkan, all the various names from Mexico into South America. And you have the Sumerian serpent or deity, Ningish Siddha. All right. Now, all of this shows the same symbol as we find on the medical buildings, the hospitals, the clinics around the country, around the corporation, the United States corporation, which is a better term. And so on over 3,000 hospitals and more. So here we have, look here, it shows you of the Ida and the Pingala. The Ida is the serpent. The Ida serpent represents the nerve channel, female, water, lunar elements, blood, life, which is the left to the right, right? The Pingala serpent represents nerve channel, male, fire, solar, element, venom, death. All right. So to the left, the Ida serpent is the one in which that symbolizes blood and life. So therefore, if your left nostril is open a twinge more than the right nostril, then you are in balance as it correlates to blood and life. However, if your right nostril is more activated, then you lean more towards the venom and the death portion, right? And so we know that the Ida and the Pingala activation opens what is called the Sushumna nerve channel, which is neutral, zero, null, line is balance. All right. And so this is the area in which that within the hollow area of the Kundalini, which is encased with 31 nerves and the two nerves outside, which is the Pingala and the Ida sacral nerves, give you 33 nerves. And this hollow area in between those 31 nerves internally is the Sushumna channel, which raises up Kundalini. Okay. And as that Kundalini comes up, the activation of the Ida and Pingala, as well as also the third nadi, which is the Sushumna, begins to start giving you various powers and clarity. The powers in which that they give you is mentioned within 1 Corinthians, the 12th chapter. The gift of healing, the gift of miracles, the gift of speaking in tongues, interpretation tongues, the gift of prophecy, the gift of discernment, so forth and so on. The gift of knowledge, gift of wisdom, So doing improper yoga or not spiritually or being spiritually ready can make the fire descend and turn into proper yoga makes the fire rise your vibration chakra. And basically Hinduism is Christianity because they show you the science of the number seven, as in the seven churches in the Bible, or seven chakras of Hinduism. The fiery serpent that Moses raised is Kundalini. Oh, and by the way, the Gnostics and the Ebionites were the first Christians, right? And if you go and look up the Gnostics' belief and the Ebionites' belief as the first Christians, they speak about the serpentine fire. You're the one blaspheming by preaching false teachings about Christianity. Look at this picture, which we showed you earlier. Each religion teaches the same hermetic and alchemical principles or alchemical um, principles. It says the snake in each one of these images is Kundalini. And this is what you're seeing right here. All right. Each one is Kundalini. All right. The seven over Vishnu, the seven over Buddha is talking about the activation of Kundalini, which is the one in the center. And then, of course, um, the three on one side, the three on the other, on both Vishnu and Buddha symbolizes the activation of the six chakras. So, the seven souls of Ra, or the all the chakras, or ritus of Ra, the seven Hebrew Elohims, the seven African powers, which are the seven Orishas or the seven Vudan Lao principles. Be aware of the spirit, for it is present. Vudan means spirit, divinity, or idol, right? Sefesh Bara, which means the souls of Ra, are also known as the Arats or chakras, through which the life force, energy, Shechem or Chi flows from the self and sustained consciousness and one's being. The life force moves through the Shefesh Bara with the intention, direction, and focus of consciousness itself. Without the Sefesh Bara, there would be no multiplicity levels or nature to existence. There would be only singular, non-dual existence with no expression. The Sefesh Bara allows for the expression of individuals' existence and spiritual energies to be used for sexual energy to allow beings to interact with one another through an individual mind and body. Consciousness is a tool which the self uses to create and interact with itself in the form of creation. All right. Once again, consciousness is the tool which the self uses to create and interact with itself in the form of creation. The purification of the organs and glands, all right, opens new levels to the consciousness, heightens the senses, enables physical and mental expansion. This allows a person to turn disease into health, lethargy into vitality, and confusion and agitation into clarity and lucency. All right? When a chakra is imbalanced through blockages or impurities, it causes, which is lack of energy or least energy, Shechem, to flow through the chakras. This causes physical and mental impairment, which limits expansion in the consciousness and the mental physical chakra consciousness, which is impaired. To understand this, you can look at it as a lamp. If the wires are obstructed anywhere in it, if there was weaknesses in the light from the bulb, or cause no electricity to pass from the socket to the bulb. The socket is the self, the source of energy, the mental, physical consciousness which exists in the spine is the wire, conduits for the electricity. And the bulb is the light and activation of the chakra. Those who Sefesh Badara centers are unopened or impure generally move in life towards physical and mental ignorance and negativity, get themselves into negative situations. They could have been avoided or prevented, feel, think, act ignorantly, carelessly, and live a self destructive or unfulfilled life. And you know many people like that. Why? Because their chakras are unopened. This is why they will make dumbass comments such as chakras don't exist. Actions can either purify a person or negative karma and work to open the Shepherd's Bara, or actions can strengthen bad karma and work to imbalance the Shepherd's Bara. This chapter or lesson, all right, will show you how to work with your chakras and open them. So this is what this particular class is about tonight. And so esoteric Indian is talking about the Rupa, which is talking about body or elements of form, prana, the breath of life, astral body, manas or intelligence, kama, which is rupa or animal, soul, buddha, spiritual soul, atma, pure spirit. The Egyptians, in which that the esoteric Indian or Vedic Sanskrit information comes from the Indian, or the Indian comes from the Egyptian, which is Ka, or Kat, which is body, Ba, the soul of breath, Kaba, the shade, Aku, intelligence or perception, Seb, astral soul, ancestral soul, Ptah, the first intellectual father, and Atmu, a divine or eternal soul. These are the correlations, all right? In the Kabbalah or the Kabbalah, in hieroglyphics, you have the same thing. You have the Jesida, Haya, you have the Nes Chama, the Nefish, Coach, Ka, right? So this correlates, which is the lower circle, Salim of Nefishka, middle circle of Salim of Ruach, and the upper circle Salim of Nesama. Now, Nephish, Ruach, and Neshama are the three Hebrews signs of the soul. These are the three souls which correlates to the same three that we find within the lower Dantian, the upper Dantian, and the mid Dantian and the upper Dantian. This is what these three symbolizes. All right, in which that correlates to the hieroglyphics of Chu, divine spirit, Chabi, spiritual soul, Bay, intelligent soul, the intelligent, Ab, the heart, feelings, IT, animal soul, the astral body, Ka, the eavesdrum, Salateral, sidereal, man, vital force, the Ankh, the Arches, Mumia, and Chat, the elementary body. All right, so when you go in and do your study about these number sevens and how they all correlate, you find them within all of the various world religions as we just went over. But now let's continue on into the African. We went to Egypt, Hebrew, all right, and now Vudan, which is considered all the sons of Mau, the creator, God the creator. All right, and here are the seven most important of these. Zapata, this is the elders of Mau, to whom the earth was entrusted. All right. Hey Vudan, the Vudan of the earth. His power is feared and terrifying. His attributes are the arm of smallpox, scissors, um, a chain in black, white, red spots. Zapata has many sons, including the Vudan of leprosy, Ada Tangni, and incurable sores, right? Sinji, Algolasu Matu, right? And then you have um, Sebioso, and this is the Vudan of the sky. Javadun becomes Jehovah within the Hebrew, who manifests himself in thunder and lightning. It would be, of course, the equivalent to Shango in the Yoruba. He is Mawu's second son and is considered a Vudan of justice who punishes thieves, liars, criminals, and evildoers. His attributes are the thunderbolt, the double axe, the ram, the color red and fire. All right. Savioso has several sons, including Sagbo and Aklobi and Avlikiti. All right. You have Agbi. This is the Vudan of the sea. Tovadan or Tovodun. He is also called as Hu. All right. Another form of Jehovah or Hua or Yahuwah. All right. He is represented by a serpent, a symbol of everything that gives life. One of his most powerful children is Dan Toshosu, who manifests himself in the birth of monster babies. Okay. You have Gu. This is the Vudan of iron and war. This is Ogu. He gives man his different technologies. He is the Vudan who does not accept complicity with evil. Therefore, he's capable of killing all accomplices in acts of infamy. If he is appealing to. This is expressed by the Fonse Dugudu, Dagodu. All right. You have Age, this fifth son of Mowu, is the Vudan of agriculture and the forest. He reigns over animals and birds. You have Joe. This Vudan is characterized by invisibility. He is the Vudan of air. You have Legba. This is Muwa, Mawu's youngest son, who received no endowment at all because all he already has shared out among his elders. He is jealous and he is loose, the rigid structure of the pantheon. He is the Vudan of the unpredictable. This is why he's the trickster, of what cannot be assigned to any other. And he is characterized by daily tragedies, all that is beyond good and evil. So alongside Mau's son, one finds other Vudans that are protected of equally important clans. These are Tukwo, all right, Eponymous, deified ancestors, eponymous. It says they maintain a link between the invisible worlds and human beings in their daily lives. The word Gabi, all right, which means life, is also the universe. It is the second meaning that we focus on here. The create universe in its cosmic deployment is not foreign to the deployment of Vudan, right? So you have the Orishas as the chakras of the human body, right? You have here what it's saying. Of course, I have my ranges and my system differs a little bit from this one, but this give you at least an overstanding. All right, seventh chakra is Ori, crown crown chakra. The sixth chakra is Urmila, third eye. Fifth chakra is Obatala, throat chakra. Fourth chakra is Ogun, heart region. Third chakra is Oshun, navel chakra. Second chakra is Imiya, reproductive region. And first chakra is Shango, anal region. Now, within my system, we have the seventh chakra as Obatala. All right. That's what we have. And we have the second chakra as Obatala. Right. The sixth chakra is Urumila. All right. The fifth chakra, we have is Shango. Right. Fourth chakra, we have is Ogun. Third chakra, Imiya. Second chakra, Oshun. And the last chakra, which is the first chakra, as Ishur Legba. That's our system. But Obatala, creator of human form, white purity, Ishur Legba, messenger of Orisha and or Ash power among the Orisha, Ashe power among the Orisha, right? So when you say Ashe, you actually is calling upon Ishur Legba. He's the primary negotiator between the positive, well, negative and the positive forces in the body. And forces the law of being, helps to enhance the power of herbs. Ogun, Orisha of iron, he expands his divinity of clearing paths, especially in respect to blockages and interpretations of flow, vital energies at various points in the body. He is the liberator, right? Imiya, mother of water, sexuality, primal waters, nurturer. She is the embryonic fluid in the womb of the pregnant woman, as well as the breast who's nurtured. She is the protective energy of the feminine forces. Oshun, all right, sensuality, beauty, graceful. She symbolizes clarity and flowing motion. She has the power to heal with cool water, and she's also the divinity of fertility and feminine essence. Women appeals to her for childbirth and for the alleviation of female disorders. She is fond of babies and the sort. If a baby becomes ill, she is known for her love of honey. All right, and of course, in the river water. All right, Shango, kingly virility, masculinity, fire, lightning, stone, protector, warrior, magnetism. He possesses the ability to transform base substance into that which is pure and viable. All right, so it is Shango who can change base lead into gold. Oya, the tempest, guardian of the cemetery, wind of changes, storms, right? This is where you get Storm from the X-Men, right? Progression. Just like you get Shango, you get Thor from Shango. Right? She is usually in the company of her counterpart Shango. She is the deity of rebirth. Things must die so that new beginnings arise. All right, so we know that physical correspondence of the Orisha is Obatala, the brain, bones, white fluid of the body, Elegba, sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system, Imiya, womb, liver, breast, buttocks, Oshun, circulatory system, digestive system, elimination system, pubic area, female, Ogun, heart, kidneys, adrenal glands, tendons, and sinews, Shango, reproductive system, male, bone marrow, life force, and chi, Oya, lungs, bronchial passages, and mucous membranes. So now that you understand that within each major world religion, as well as the African religions of Vudan, Yoruba, the Khan, Ifa. All of this is talking about your seven chakras, the seven Elohims, the seven churches, the seven cities mentioned in the book of Revelation. Whatever you find the number seven, it correlates right back to the seven chakras once again. So it's esoteric, occult, metaphysical. It has nothing to do with seven actual churches outside of yourself per se. Right? Here's the exercise in order to clear your chakras, which is needed. The base root chakra, which symbolizes the ovaries, uterus, the testes, prostate. You would say, I trust my higher self, fulfill all my needs. My life is filled of prosperity. For the navel sacral chakra, you would say, I accept and acknowledge my sexuality. My physical health is strong and pure. Solar plexus, spleen, and pancreas, you would say, in a smooth and healthy way, I release all unresolved emotions and I claim my personal power. Heart chakra, I freely and easily give and receive love. I totally forgive others and myself for all past errors, mistakes, and judgments. Throat chakra, I easily and gracefully express my deepest feelings and emotions. Brow or third eye chakra, forehead chakra, my inner vision is clear and strong. I trust my intuition and inner vision. Chakra or crown chakra, I accept and acknowledge my spirituality. Right? These are what you will have to say. All right. On a daily basis. Here's the root chakra. And the color red governs the base root chakra situated at the base of the spine. All right. As well as also connected to the perineum between the legs of the male and female, which is also connected to the woman's G spot, which is about 1.5 inches to 3 inches inside her vaginal canal. But it symbolizes vitality, courage, self-confidence, kidneys, bladder, vertebrae, columns, hips, legs, as well as also areas of this chakra, endocrine glands, prostate, testes, uterus, ovary glands, associated problems, cold fingers and toes, frequency of urination, hypertension, impotency, hip problems, legs and feet, testicular disease, prostate disease, personality traits, courageous, confident, humanistic, strong will, spontaneous, honest, and extroverted. Red relates to self-awareness, is the area of survival and stability or stability, which stability, and your place on this planet or Earth. The color red provides the power for the Earth and give energy on all levels. It connects us to our physical body. Everything that is to be commended needs life, vitality of red. Positive aspects of red: security, courage, strength of will, pioneering. Negative aspects of red: insecurity, self-pitying, aggressive, fearful. Red is the slowest and lowest rate of vibration in the visible spectrum. Man evolved from the low gross color of red through the entire color spectrum to the highest of colors, violet. Red projected onto the body stimulates the liver, the automatic nervous system, and the circulatory system. A red aura indicates a strong sexual force. It awakens our physical life force. It strengthens the overall energy level. It attracts, magnetizes, stimulates, and energizes. Right. Next color is orange, which correlates to the navel. It's about feelings and sexuality. When it's open, you're feeling free, flow freely, and you express without being overly emotional. You're open to intimacy, and you can be passionate and lively. You have no problems dealing with your sexuality. If you tend to be stiff and unemotional and have a poker face, then the sacral chakra, navel chakra is underactive. All right. You're not very open to people, and this chakra is overactive, if you tend to be emotional all the time, you'll feel emotionally attached to people, and you can be very sexual. So orange governs the navel chakra, right, or sacral chakra, situated at the lower abdomen and around at the base of the spine, right above the crack of the behind. Happiness, confidence, resourcefulness. Related organs: uterus, large bowel, small and large intestines, endocrine gland, adrenal gland, all right? Associated problems: premenstrual syndromes, problems with menstrual flow, fibroid tumors, ovarian cysts, irritable bowel syndrome, endometrius, testicular prostate disease, but all right, can also be similar problems here as you see both 1 and 2. Personality traits: enthusiasm, happy, sociable, energetic, sporty, self-assured, and constructive. Orange is the color of success, related to self-respect, having the ability to give ourselves the freedom to be ourselves and to help expand your interests and activity. All right, bring joy to our workday, strengthen our appetite for life. Orange is the best emotional stimulant. It connects us to our senses and helps to remove um, inhibitions and make us independent and social. All right, positive aspect of orange: sociable, all right, creative, joyous, independent. Negative aspects of orange: withdrawn, um, destructive, of course, despondent, over dependent. Orange, if you project it over the physical body of a person, this is what the colors are for. It gives life and promotes healing conditions of the stomach, all right, intestine, spleen, all right, pancreas, and adrenal glands, thyroid glands, and muscular system. Orange stimulates the liver, or the lungs, respiratory system by increasing the oxygen flow. It balances the emotions. Next is solar plexus, all right? And yellow is what governs the solar plexus, all right? When the solar plexus is underactive, you tend to be passive and indecisive. You're probably timid and you don't get what you want. If this chakra is overactive, you are domineering and probably even aggressive. So yellow symbolizes the solar plexus chakra, situated below the ribs. Wisdom, clarity, self-esteem. Now, related organs: liver, spleen, stomach, and small intestines. And endocrine glands is pancreas. Associated problems is diabetes, pancreat, pancreatitis, liver disease, peptic ulcers, all right, gallstones, etc., etc. Personality traits: good humor, optimistic, practical, intellectual, confident. Yellow is a creative color and relates to self-worth. All right, how we feel about ourselves and how we feel about other perceives us. This is the area of our personality, the ego, the intelligence or intellect. Give us clarity of thought, increases awareness, and stimulates interest and curiosity. Yellow energy is related to the ability to perceive and understand. The yellow energy connects us to our mental self. Positive aspect of yellow: confidence, alert, optimistic, good humor. Negative aspects of yellow: feeling of inferiority, over analytical, sarcastic, pessimistic. All right. Yellow stimulates the entire eliminative system, digestive system, lymphatic system, liver, gallbladder, bladder, and the nerves. It builds the right hemisphere of the brain, eyes, ears, and bones. The gold shade of yellow is an excellent overall healing color. Here we go to green, which is the heart chakra. It's about love, kindness, and affection. When it's open, you're compassionate and friendly, and you work at harmonious relationships. When your heart is underactive, you're cold and distant. If this chakra is overactive, you're suffocating people with the love, and your love probably be quite selfish reasons. Within the heart chakra, endocrine glands, thymus gland, associated problems, heart diseases, diseases of the immune system, e.g., HIV, AIDS, and uh, myalgia, sometimes referred to as chronic fatigue syndrome. Other related problems related to the immune system, allergies, you know, cancer of the breast. Turquoise can help with a positive effect upon the immune system. Even pink can also help, as is pink is the secondary color for the heart chakra behind green here. So the personality traits is understanding. If you take and project green on top of a person during the healing, is understanding, self-control, adaptable, uh, sympathetic, compassionate, generous, humble, nature loving, and romantic. Green chakra relates to love, self-love, the ability to give and take unconditionally. All right. When balanced, you are able to give love and also love and nurture ourselves. Okay. So let's look at it. Let's come on down because I won't keep reading all of that there. But the positive effects of green is compassion, generosity, harmony, balance, loving. Negative aspects of green is indifference, jealousy, miserably, bitterness. And green is the most predominating color in the life force on planet Earth. This is the most life-giving color from the sun is the color green. It balances our energy, it heals out all heart ailments, increases the circulatory system, it stimulates the pituitary gland, it rises the vibrations of the physical body above the vibration of disease. It heals all infections and builds cells and tissues. Color green is the color of healing, teaching, and growth. And the green auric field means that they are willing to work in order to gain wealth in terms of educational, cultural, and physical attainment. So we go to the Nation of Gods and Earth, or the Five Percenters, go through the Justice Degree 10, which is found in the 1 through 14 lessons of the 120. It says, why do Muhammad or any Muslim murder the devil? What reward does a Muslim receive by presenting the four devils at one time? The four devils are the four lowest chakras that we just went over. Answer, because he is 100% wicked and will not keep and obey the laws of Islam. His ways and actions are like a snake of the drafted type. So Muhammad learned that he could not reform the devils, so that they had to be murdered. And all Muslims will murder the devil. They know he is a snake, and also if he be allowed to live, he will sting someone else. Each Muslim is required to bring four devils. By bringing and presenting four at a time, his reward is a button to wear on the lapel of his coat. Right, so that is all metaphysical, talking about the esoterical, talking about the four lowest chakras. Those are the four devils. Right, if you get the book by my teacher, Sunyata Saraswati, The Jewel and the Lotus, he speaks about that. The throat chakra is about self-expression and talking. This is the color blue, in particular sky blue, right? When it's open, you have no problem expressing yourself and might be doing so as an artist. When this chakra is underactive, you tend not to speak much and you're probably an introvert and shy. Not speaking the truth may block this chakra. If this chakra is overactive, you tend to speak too much, usually domineering, and keep people at a distance. You're a bad listener if this is the case. Okay. Blue governs the throat chakra, knowledge, health, decisiveness. Related organs is throat and lungs. Endocrine glands is thyroid, parathyroid glands. Right? The upper digestive tract can be affected by imbalances in this area. right? Turquoise can also help both the heart and heart chakra, throat chakra. Physical so associated problems, thyroid problems over and underactive, anorexia, right? Anemia or asthma, bronchitis, hearing problems, tendinitis may also be connected with the problem with the brow chakra. Problems of the upper digestive tract, mouth ulcers, sore throats, tonsillitis, right? Personality traits: loyal, tactful, affectionate, inspiring, inventive, caring, and cautious. Blue is the color of the spirit related to self-expression, speech, communication, the ability to communicate our needs and requirements, spirit of truth and purpose. This is a mentally relaxing color. Blue has a pacifying effect on the nervous system and brings great relaxation. Ideal for sleep problems and hyperactive children. So just by visualizing blue on the child will calm the child down. Right? So you don't have to say, sit your little ass down somewhere. No need. Just imagine blue on his little behind or her little behind. Just sit down. Connect this to holistic thought and give us wisdom and clarity, enhancing communication and speech. All right? Blue is the vital builder and creative force. It heals ailments of the respiratory system, throat, nose, ears, and eyes. It is also an antibiotic. It relays all right here. It heals it. It heals ailments of the respiratory system, throat, nose, eyes, and ears. It acts as antibiotic. It relieves all itching, irritation, fevers, and burns. Blue is very effective in erasing all childhood diseases. It strengthens communication within relationships. It is used for astral projection and inducing prophetic dreams. So you will visualize blue around your auric field right before you go to sleep in order to activate your astral body. All right. And then once you visualize it, or once you imagine yourself coming out the body, you would put yourself in white light in order to block any negative entities. All right. Third eye chakra is an insight and visualization. When it's open, you have good intuition. You tend to fantasize. If it's underactive, you're not very good at thinking for yourself. In fact, your dreams may be in black and white, especially if your pineal gland is calcified. And you may not even dream at all. And you may tend to rely on authorities. You may be rigid in your thinking, relying on beliefs too much. You may even get confused easily. If this chakra is underactive, you may live in a world of fantasy too much. All right. In essence, excessive cases of hallucinations are possible. Indigo governs the brow chakra and third eye in the center of the forehead. All right. Indigo does that. Intuition, mysticism, understanding, related organs, eyes, lower head, and sinuses. Endocrine glands, pituitary gland, associated problems, tension headaches, migraines, visual defects, short-sightedness, which is nearsight, and then farsight, glaucoma, cataracts, sinus problems, ear problems. All right. Personality traits: intuitive, fearless, practical, idealistic, wise, and a truth seeker. Indigo relates to self-responsibility, being responsible for one's own life, responsible for one's to follow the soul path and needs, and trusting one's own intuition. All right. Positive aspects of indigo: highly intuitive, faithful, clear sight, integrity, openly minded. Negative aspects of indigo: inability to trust intuition, scattered mind, inconsiderate blinkage, vision. Now, indigo, it heals any hormonal imbalances that occurs in the endocrine gland system. It balances the two hemispheres of the brain. All right, it heals all hormonal imbalances that occurs in the endocrine gland system. That's what indigo does. It balances two hemispheres of the brain. It acts as an antibiotic. It is an excellent blood purifier. It stops hemorrhaging, internal bleeding in the tissues and organs, and nosebleeds. It is an astringent, tightening, firming, and toning the flesh, skin, and lung nerves. It depresses the heart, strengthens a enlarged heart, and it can awaken the gift of intuition. Right, the last one, well, the last of the colors, all right, is the crown chakra, which is all wisdom, being one with the world. This is holistic. When the chakra is open, you are unprejudiced and aware of the world and yourself, quite aware. If this is underactive, you're not very aware of spirituality, all right? You're probably quite rigid in your thinking. If this chakra is overactive, you're probably intellectualizing too much. You may be addicted to spirituality and you're probably ignoring your bodily needs, right? So here, violet, purple governs the crown chakra, the top of the head. Beauty, creativity, inspiration, right? Related organ, brain, endocrine glands, pineal gland, associated problems, depression, Parkinson's disease, schizophrenia, epilepsy, senility, dementia, Alzheimer's, many mental disorders, confusion, and dizziness. All right. Personality traits, inspirational leaders, kindly and just, humanitarian, self-sacrifice, visionary, all right, creative and strong mentally. Violet relates to self-knowledge and spiritual awareness. It's the union with your higher self, with your spirituality and your higher consciousness. Disease can result in an imbalance, right, of energy in this chakra, either too much or too little. The violet energy, all right, connects us to our spiritual self, bringing guidance, wisdom, and inner strength, and purifies our thoughts and healing, giving us inspiration in all undertaking, enhances artistic talents and creativity. All right, positive aspects of violet, a reference for all life, self-sacrifice in the service of others, idealism. All right, an ability to see the appropriate route to the benefit of the higher self. Negative aspects, no concern for others, feeling of superiority, lack of connection with reality. Right, this is someone who's narcissistic, someone who is, what's the word? We'll get back to it. But here, violet acts, purple is an act as an antibiotic. It stimulates the spleen. It depresses the action of the appetite. It affects the nerves, heart, lymphatic glands, and overall, and all over active parts of the body except the spleen and the parathyroid gland. It is the color of expansion of all forms, love, health, business, and money. The color violet offers the gift of spiritual protection, knowledge of the higher realms of magic, right? The beginning or the becoming of a higher potential and enhancement of prophetic powers. So the colors of healings used also is the following. These are the ones that's not mentioned. White is for general healing and revitalizing all purpose. Silver is for knitting of broken bones, fractions, slip discs, and enhancement of the third eye. Black gives a sense of safety and security. It magnifies the power of attraction in the body to a level that others are pulled automatically. All right. All right, so let's look at black. All right, we said that it deals with safety and security, but it also magnifies the power of attraction in the body to the level that others are pulled automatically. I had to say that part again. Black is also regarded as the color of death. It is increases both the immunity powers as well as the obstacles, opposition, and enmity. It acts or activates the unconscious mind. It also generates fear, doubt, and illusion. So if there's no fear or doubt, all right, and you understand the signs of the illusion in which that we're under, then you can help disregard, the negative effects of the color black, right? Because really what the color black is supreme balance, right? But if you use too much of it, it can actually put yourself out of balance, right? So relaxation, cleansing, and energizing. So this is also another technique to purify your chakra system. You want to inhale good health. So in your mind, you would be inhaling good health. So think of the word good health and breathe it in. Right? So inhale good health, exhale all the pain and discomfort. So let's try that. Inhale good health. See the word good health and inhale it. And then exhale the pain and discomfort. Exhale pain, discomfort. Inhale relaxing and comforting energy. Exhale stress, tension, and fatigue. Inhale love and peace. Exhale hatred and resentment. Inhale calmness and confidence. Okay. Inhale calmness and confidence. Exhale fear and worry. Inhale happiness. Exhale sadness and depression. Inhale kindness. Exhale irritability and anger. Inhale positive and creative thoughts. Exhale negative and harmful thoughts. Inhale positive and good emotions. Exhale negative and harmful emotions. Okay. So that is how you cleanse your chakras. This is the science of tonight's class. All right. There's 7 African powers, your chakras, and color healing therapy. All right. Hopefully y'all got something from tonight's presentation. I'm going to end this joint right now. We appreciate y'all coming on, checking us out. You know what I mean? All right. Really appreciate that. All right. So, subscribe. All right. Subscribe to YouTube. Hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, all right, Instagram. All right. Go to the website, www.dralimel-bey.com. Listen on Wednesday nights, well, almost every night now, to Blog Talk Radio when we come on. Normally come on around 8 o'clock. Tonight, of course, we did it a little bit differently because we got in late, but we still wanted to get this information out. So we didn't have a lot of people on tonight, but hey, 60 is good. We can begin to start having more. All right. Normally we have about almost 200. So let's get that up. Start telling your friends about this. Where y'all can get some real information from that can actually help enhance and change your life. Information that's practical and plus educational. All right. This is what you're going to find here on our channel, on our TV station. All right. So we appreciate y'all checking us out. And we love y'all. and come back tomorrow. You hear? Peace.